Hello everyone and welcome once again to my channel. My name is Luis Portelles, and for today's video we have a very special one because we are finally going to start talking about Miss Earth. And of course, on my personal time, I have been keeping a close eye on the Meet the Delegate segment that has been posted on Facebook as well on YouTube. However, today we are going to be reviewing one of the first official presentations of the entire pageant. I'm talking about the Fauna Costume Presentation, which of course requires that the delegates embody an animal that they want to showcase, that they want to talk about from their countries. And the format of this video pretty much is going to be I prepared a top 20 for you guys, and I'm going to be presenting it to you. I'll give you some of my comments and feedback as well. And before we get into that, I just want to be completely clear, completely transparent with you. So, by telling you how I make my topics. So, pretty much when I'm looking at the photos and the videos, of course, I'm looking for someone who was able to teach me something. So I feel like after watching her presentation, I took something away with me that I didn't know initially. And also, I like girls who go the route of representing rather than imitating. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but what I mean by that is like I like when what the girls are wearing embodies like the spirit of the animal without necessarily just acting like the animal itself, right? I feel like the line is very very slim. However, it is definitely possible, and the girls that I'm going to be presenting today definitely achieved just that. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button so that it gets recommended to more people. Subscribe to the channel of more videos like this one almost every single day, and be part of the conversation in the live chat on the side or the comment section down below if you are watching this after the live stream has ended. So I will see you very soon, right after the intro, with my official top 20 for the Fauna competition. All right, everyone. So, without further ado, let me bring my top 20 on the screen. And by the way, this is in alphabetical order. So, I'm just going to go from A to Z, the countries that stood out for me the most. All right. Okay, so as you guys can see, we're going to be starting today with Miss Australia, Miss Sheridan Mortlock. I definitely love the color combination here on her fauna costume. I think that it really represents very well the swift parrot, which is the animal that she was inspired by. Of course, we can recognize the colors. I personally love everything that she is wearing, like in the core part of the costume. I'm going to say that I was not a fan of the piece of fabric that she had in the back, but I do acknowledge that the fabric added a little bit more flow. You know, it was airy, like it was a lot of fun for her to play with that, but it was a little distracting for me when it comes to the actual costume. But it's not a deal breaker. I still think that she did an amazing job. Moving on, next one on the list, we have Miss Belgium. And you already know that I had to put her on the list because I am part of the Beehive. Just kidding, of course, Charlotte. But what I like the most, of course, is that Miss Belgium gave us here the best of both worlds in terms of having a very clear costume. We can see that it's definitely a bee, but at the same time, it's just not like the literal interpretation of a bee. You know, earlier when I was telling you that I'm not so much of a fan of like imitating the animal. Like I don't want you to look like the animal. I want you to give me something that will make me think of that animal and that will teach me something simultaneously. Well, I think that her costume, of course, is a clear reference, but it's still you can see the craftsmanship, you can see the inspirations, you can see different textures and colors and all of the things that I personally enjoy. So she had to be on the list 100%. Moving on to the next one, we have Miss Belize. Of course, this girl has a huge task this year on the competition because, of course, she is aiming for a back-to-back crown for Belize. And honestly, just looking at the photo, I was not immediately sold when it comes to her fauna costume. However, after I watched her video, I was definitely all in because the girl went above and beyond to really present something that was very informative, like very creative, and I have to appreciate that. She even went underwater, y'all, with the entire costume. So please, let's give her props. And she is representing the lionfish, which I am familiar with because I am an island boy myself, coming from Cuba. And yes, that was an amazing, amazing presentation. Congratulations, Miss Belize. Moving on, we have Miss Bolivia, who is here representing the red-fronted macaw. These are the type of birds that we always hear about in Latin America. I mean, as I said earlier, I'm from Cuba. I am an island boy. I am not necessarily like within the Latin American continent, like we are part of it, but like on the side. So sometimes our fauna in Cuba doesn't necessarily like look like some of the fauna within the continent. But every time I think of Bolivia, every time I think of some of the countries in Latin America, I think of this bird. It's very, very typical. What I like the most is how she incorporated all of the colors and some of the even the shapes. Because if you look at the headpiece that she is wearing, you can clearly see the head of the bird. She even is holding one of them, of course, a fake one, on her hands. And I still think that regardless of all of the inspiration that she took, she is of course wearing something that is very beautiful. Look at the dress that she's wearing, embellished with some feathers at the bottom. You know, this is a home run for me. So Bolivia, keep it up. I love this. Sending all of my love, my Cuban love. All right, moving on to Chile. Daniela Riquelme, and she is giving us here the Andean condor. I love it. It looks very, very, very elegant, and I think that this is one of the birds that I remember from my childhood because I would always sit down with my grandfather and just watch documentaries on they had like this channel, like this channel in Cuba where they would just play like documentaries all day long, and I would love everything related to the animals. And I remember seeing some of those about the Andean condor. I think that once again, when I look at her, I get the reference. I see what she's trying to do. Even the backdrop is helping me out here to get the idea. But what she's wearing is beautiful. There is so much work, attention to detail. So I appreciate it because it's not like a literal interpretation of the animal, but instead something that feels elevated, that feels very fashion forward, with of course the wings and a headpiece that seal the deal for me. So very, very good job, Miss Chile. Moving on, my second home. Of course, we are talking about Miss Canada, Jessica Cian Cianchino. Okay, Miss Jessica, and she is representing here the Zerene Fritillary. You know what? I have to admit, I live in Canada. It's been how many years? Almost 13 years that I've been living in Canada. In Canada, literally half of my life I spent in this country. I have never heard of this. Maybe is it like the scientific name or I don't know, but I have never heard of this. And you remember when I was telling you earlier, guys, when I go into this, type of presentations, I expect to learn something. This is the perfect example. I'm learning something from my own home country. So I really, really appreciate this, Miss Canada. And of course, just look at her. Looks exquisite. I mean, the color palette, the execution, the craftsmanship. And of course, if you watched her video as well, it was very, very well shot and edited as well. So, congratulations, Miss Canada. You are doing amazing. Keep it up, please. Of course, right now we have back to back. It's you know what? Back to back, back to back. Canada to Cuba. My two countries gotta be right there. Miss Sheila Ravelo Perez, of course, the candidate representing Miss Earth Cuba. We had her here on the channel, and I honestly love this girl so, so much. Um, She's representing here the corals, which, of course, as I said, is a huge part of the fauna in Cuba because we're an island, so we're quite literally surrounded by them. I know that Cuba has a pretty like eco-friendly vision when it comes to the environment, when it comes to how we take care of our fauna and flora. And I think that the corals are a huge part of that. We have a very thriving corals ecosystem. So I love the idea. And I'm going to say here, of course, that the photo shoot that they took was really, really beautiful. Shayla, honestly, I don't know what she has been doing for the past few weeks, but the glow up is real. It truly, truly shows that she is putting a lot of work alongside her team, of course. So yes, congratulations, Miss Cuba. I really appreciate this, and I cannot wait to see more from you. Aha, Colombia, front runner. We need to talk about Colombia, y'all. A lot of people literally see Colombia as being potentially the next Miss Earth. I'm going to say I love her. I have been watching her social media, some of her interviews and stuff, and I am really, really impressed by her. Of course, I haven't had the opportunity just yet to like see and like follow all of the girls just yet, so I'm not gonna come up with like early predictions just yet, but I can see a lot of potential. I think that this fauna costume is definitely the perfect example of that. Just look at it. She is representing the jaguar, so one of the big cats. Um, and when I look at her, I don't feel like the reference is necessarily like so much on your face. If she didn't tell me, I will just really associate this with some sort of art, some sort of abstract creation, photography project. So I really, 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 really appreciate it because, as I said, she's not acting like an animal or anything. She is purely informing us and giving us something that is very eye catching and you know creative. So what else can I ask for her? I'm looking forward to see what else she's gonna do during the competition. But as I said, please everyone take notes right now. Keep an eye on Miss Colombia. She is going places. Moving on, Indonesia representing here the Komodo dragon, of course. um, for those of you who watched the video with all of the candidates and their animals and how they represented it, I really, really liked Indonesia because, of course, I think that the attention to details when it comes to her costume is really out of this world. Beautiful, very well crafted, and the reference as well is very clear. You can see that Miss Indonesia here is on the floor. I mean, like on the pieces of wood, imitating a little bit what normally the Komodo dragon will do, but it's not like she is trying to actually imitate the animal itself. So I'm not bothered by that. I think that if it's just representing, if it's just like perhaps like embodying the essence of it, that's fine, for as long as you're not like sticking your tongue out and acting like a dragon, right? You know what I'm saying, right? So Indonesia, this is beautiful, and yes, please give us more. Keep up the hard work. Okay, moving on to Ecuador, Susan Toledo, representing the marine iguana. I feel like the marine iguana, once again, one of those animals that I keep seeing, that I kept on seeing as a child on documentaries and just so many different, um, like different coverages about this type of animals. So seeing them represented at Miss Earth is really very heartwarming, to say the least, of course. I think that what she's wearing here is very, very, very efficient, very beautiful because, of course, I mean, when you look at the iguana that she has next to her, it has quite literally the same color palette of the costume that she's wearing, but the interpretation is so beautiful. It's almost as if she took the colors and she incorporated them into an already beautiful creation. Like, I don't feel like this costume is necessarily imitating the iguana, but rather just paying homage, like a little tribute. And I think that personally, that's the way to go. So, Ecuador, I love this. Please give us more. Oh, okay. Korea. Miss Mina Su Choi. I am in love with this. I mean, for those of you who know me, like, well, you know that I come from a film studies background. I'm an arts kid, okay, y'all. I love things that are creative, things that think outside of the box. And I just think that um, this interpretation that Miss Korea had for the bottlenose dolphin is just so, so beautiful. Of course, there is no specific, like, on your face reference to the bottlenose dolphin other than that she is underwater, but precisely, I think that the fact that she took a risk and she went the extra mile to shoot the entire thing, not just the photo, but the entire video underwater, honestly, I have to give her props. On top of that, she looks beautiful, effortless. I mean, if I was underwater and you were trying to take a photo or take a video of me, I would be looking like a hot mess. So, Miss Korea, props to you. I love this. Moving on, Japan. Of course, you knew that I had to put her on my list. Her name is Mane Matsumoto, and she is representing the Japanese crane. You know, what I like the most about this photo is that, um, first of all, the aesthetics of it. I love the place where it was taken. You can see some of the ocean, you can see the sky, you can see the rocks. I love, of course, what she's wearing. I can see that this is a very intricate costume and that there's been a lot of work and attention to detail that went into it, but I also like just the aesthetic choices. For example, I can tell that this was shot with a wide angle lens, which gives us, like a completely different perspective when it comes to the photo. For example, you can see how long her arms seem to be, how um, large like the clouds and the sky seem to be as well, how far away the horizon is. And I just think that those things honestly just make a huge difference. Of course, she could have taken a photo of the costume with an iPhone. She could have taken it with any mobile device, to be honest, and like even like a normal camera. But the fact that there are some aesthetic choices that are made, for example, like the type of lens that they pick for the shoot, I appreciate it. It just adds and elevates the entire concept. So Miss Japan, one of my favorites for sure. Moving on, we have Miss Nigeria. So Esther Oluwatosin Ajayi. Please let me know if I said that correctly. Representing the vulture. Look, I think that Miss Nigeria did an incredible job at giving us a performance. And what I mean by that is that I don't think that the photo really um, is like representative of how good her video was. When I was looking at her video, I was really into like the intensity of how she was looking at the camera, the movement. She was doing like a little movement with her shoulders, which gave us the impression that the vulture's wings were moving around, and it was just like majestic. I think that that will be more of a theatrical representation, and that's fine because once again, for as long as she doesn't start like like making funny noises, it doesn't alienate me, and I'm really really into the performance. Actually, I must say, if you look at it, I think that her costume looks quite realistic. So definitely props to her and her entire team, of course. Moving on, we have Netherlands looking incredible. I'm going to say, okay, Miss Netherlands, her name is Meryl Hendrickson, and she is representing an owl. An owl, such a known animal. The symbolism behind it, I think that is very fitting not only for this particular competition, but also for this particular pageant. I feel like to be part of Miss Earth, you need to be smart like an owl. At least that's just part of the symbolism behind it. Another reason that I put her on my list is because, well, if you look at her costume, she doesn't necessarily have like the most intricate costume. However, this woman looked so beautiful while delivering an owl look. And that's a talent. If you ask me, that's a talent. Yes, yes, it is. Um, I really appreciate, similar to the previous example that I was telling you about when it comes to Nigeria, I think that Netherlands just had a very efficient way of giving us access to what we needed to have about the animal, to having access to those traits, to the characteristics, so some of the colors. But at the same time, I think that she was presenting herself under a very positive light. Her eyes were captivating, the makeup was beautiful, the hairstyle was beautiful. And for me, that's the nuance when it comes to being part of a beauty pageant, because yes, this is all about the earth and about informing and creating awareness, but it is still a beauty pageant. So I can appreciate those ladies who take it to the next level and elevate the looks, elevate the ideas, and still give us the information and the knowledge that we are looking for. So really love this Miss Netherlands, one of my favorites actually. Moving on, we have South Sudan. I love South Sudan. Miss Melan Kual representing the cattle. I mean, when I look at this once again from the perspective of a film studies student, actually a graduate, at least I got the degree. Um, I really appreciate, of course, the costume itself, what she's wearing, but I love everything else as well. Like I love that we see like a baby cuddle in the background. I love that we see people like working with them as well. I don't know if they're like feeding them, if they're like having them move around, if they're like I don't know what's going on, but I feel like her photo is selling me a story, that I'm learning something, that I'm seeing like the everyday avocado, if that makes sense. If you guys watch her video, I feel like South Sudan also gave us a very cinematographic video. I love that it felt almost like a photo shoot for like a magazine, or more like an artsy project, something like that. So yeah, I think that she really hit the spot for me, because she gave me, once again, she gave me access to the animals, she gave me information about it, while simultaneously showcasing herself under a very, very positive light. Must love it. Okay, moving on, we have Philippines, Miss Jenny Ramp, of course, and she is representing here the Philippine hanging parrot. Ooh, see, I have never ever heard about this parrot in particular, but I mean, judging by Miss Jenny's fauna costume, it must be majestic, must be really, really beautiful. I think that Jenny's costume, when you look at it, of course, um, she doesn't look like a parrot per se, but I can see the reference. I can see kind of like the tribute to the bird. But at the same time, this looks like something that belongs on like a red carpet. Like I will bring this to the Met Gala. Give me a theme that will be like fauna oriented for the Met Gala, or like camp, and I will wear something like this. So I think that her interpretation of the Philippine hanging parrot is very fashion forward, is very elevated. And I really, really like Jenny, not just for this particular look, or this particular competition, but just as a whole. Like we had her here on the channel, and she was, quite frankly, one of the sweetest girls that I have met here on the channel. So I have a lot of respect and love for her. Great job, Jenny. Keep it going, please. Next, we have another one of my guests here on the channel, Brielle Simmons, representing USA, and this time she is portraying the monarch butterfly. Of course, so beautiful, and I think that her dress and the headpiece say everything that you need to know about the monarch butterfly. These butterflies are actually quite popular here in Canada as well. I think that we have some of them, so I could also see maybe like a Miss Canada in the future wear something similar to this. But what I like the most is that it's such a polished look. It's such a beautiful dress, that I feel like the idea of the monarch butterfly is completely integrated within the dress, and it doesn't come across as being costumey. It doesn't come across as being like a DIY project. It's really just like a beautiful designer piece. That's how I see it. It also reminds me a lot, for those of you who watched this season of Drag Race Philippines, to one of the costumes that Paolo Ballesteros was wearing. So, for me, when you take it to this level, it's not just a costume. This is quite literally fashion. So, Brielle, super proud of you, my girl. Please keep it going. All right. Moving on now to Miss Sri Lanka. And her name is Udani Senanayake. All right. I hope I got that right. Sorry if I didn't. Please, someone correct me. And she is representing for us the Sri Lanka hill Mina. Honestly, another one of the animals that I have never ever seen personally. I don't know what the animal looks like, but I really love what she's wearing. I think that her costume is just stunning. I love the contrast of the dark tones here, the black color on the dress, with some of the green tones. You can see like a few shades of blue as well. The yellow, of course, on her neck and on the headpiece, of course. So I feel like it's a very interesting costume per se. So of course I have to appreciate it and show it some love. Go watch her video as well. This girl has like model skills, because she was able to sell it so well. So I really, really appreciated that. Moving on, we have Miss Venezuela, and she is Oriana Pablos, representing the Venezuelan ocelot. And I'm going to say I'm actually quite surprised that she is one of the few, if not the only candidate that I saw that was wearing like body painting. That's such a creative way to represent an animal and really go, more on the artsy side of things to showcase creativity, not just of yourself, but of your entire team as well. So I thought that this was beautiful. I love the face painting as well, the way that she styled her hair to just, keep it very, very minimalistic and not take the attention away from the actual representation of the Venezuelan ocelot. And yes, her video, I think that she gave us a great performance. So I really love this. And now we have come to Vietnam, and her name is Thach Thu Thao. Thao. Please, someone help me. And she's representing the Sarus crane. When I look at this, I can see it. I see the reference to the Cyrus crane. I can see the bird. Everything is right there. The feathers, but just look at the way that this has been built. Is so stylish. It's so elegant. It's so like it feels regal. It feels expensive. Like quite literally, I think like someone could wear this on a red carpet and it will be perfectly appropriate. This is the type of costumes that I'm looking for when it comes to the fauna competition. Once again, I don't want you to imitate the animal, interpret it like in your own way, and elevate the concept so that we can be amazed by your costume, so that we can enjoy it, so that we can learn more about it without you necessarily like, you know, acting like whatever. So, anyways, Miss Vietnam got the job done beautifully, and I think that it was super, super, super efficient. Of course, actually, Miss Vietnam was the 20th candidate on my list, which means that that was it for my top 20 list when it comes to the fauna competition at Miss Earth this year. Let me know in the comment section, what did you think about the costumes? Do you agree with my picks? If there's someone that I didn't include on my list, please let me know who it is and why, and I will be reading you guys in the comment section down below. While you're at it, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon with more coverage for Miss Earth, but also for other pageants. We have Mr. International, we have Miss International coming up as well, and of course, Miss Universe in like 2 months ish or 3 months. Anyways, you get the idea. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.